Dana Dugan, I know you're on. Dana, if you introduce yourself, you have 3 minutes.
Always a delight, President Helms and Pro Tem Crow Iverson. First of all, a property right, I want to remind you, I said this a couple days ago, does not equal a use right. And the purpose of this body is to represent and protect the people, to protect us. In addition to Ms. Gale's brilliance, and she is brilliant, we also consulted top land use attorneys on these legal issues that she presented, and they all concurred. But rather than having to pursue the courts, there's a better way. And Kat Gale and I tried to chat with Ms. Newman about this, but we did not get a return phone call. I've mentioned before, my uncle owned the largest commercial mortgage bank in California. In fact, he probably financed some of Mr. Widener's properties. My own immediate family also owned a commercial mortgage bank and many apartment complexes. So I grew up in this world, and I understand it. I did a little back of the napkin math on this idea, and we think it's more profitable. So here goes. How about at that Arrows West 1 area, we build a Bighorn Sheep and Research Visitor Center that has paid parking, tours, bike rentals, even council member Lineweber's buddy, Greg Wellens, Adventures Out West could profit off of that. And then obviously that would help with Todd's issues with the parking at Red Lake Brewery. And then the Arrows West 2 could be Rams Landing. I know I'm taking liberty in even naming these, but I went and looked at their portfolio. Castle Park seems to be a great example with a low-profile complex that wouldn't be as intrusive, and they're very nice and look like nice properties. So. And lastly, I just want to call that. So I would ask that you guys consider something like that. That is a win-win for all parties, and it's a benefit to the city, which we know, given the investment that Widener's made in the city, that they care very much about it, in addition to the donations to that dais. And lastly, I want to remind you that communications fail in all of these fires. So the question you should be asking our fire leadership is, what happens to Zonehaven when the communications go down, just like they did in Paradise and Marshall and Waldo and all our fires? And that's it.
Thank you very much. Up next is...
Put up with Laura saying that our objections were noise, and she was giggling when we discussed possible other uses that were compliant with the current zoning and with Plan COS and Retool COS. Thank you very much. I really, really hope you will consider who you represent and why you represent us. Because something is legal does not mean it isn't a conflict of interest. Judges have recusal requirements. I think you should think, for your own honor, that recusal might be worth it. And when developers are giving money to fly fishermen and caterers to best support complex planning decisions, and they're not giving to any of the rest of the slate of 13, you have to wonder why. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now moving to